Hey, good morning, everybody. Mr. Catlin here. We're looking at virtual lesson 4.2, and we're going to do some percentage problems using tables. Probably my preferred way to do this. And there I am. My preferred way to do this, and the reason is because with the double number line, it's a very visual, nice representation. But when the numbers get a little more difficult, it's not always the best, most effective strategy. So tables will work no matter how easy or how difficult the numbers. We're obviously going to work with some easy percentages today, but table is probably one of my favorite ways to solve these, and it also relates to what we've been doing with our constant proportionality. So let's jump in and let's do this. During basketball practice, May attempted 60 free throws and was successful on 40% of them. How many successful free throws did she make? Okay, so lots of different ways to solve this type of problem. Yesterday we did double number line. Today we're doing tables. And with the table, it's a pretty easy setup. You're always going to have a table with two quantities, one of them being your percentage that you're discussing, and the other one being the value or the number of things that you're dealing with. So always a percentage compared to a value, just like the double number line, values to percentages, except this way we're just putting it in table format instead of a double number line visual format. So the one thing that you have to be able to pick out of these problems is, what is my 100% value? Sometimes you know it, sometimes you don't know it, and that's really what the problem evolves around, is that percentage being the whole. Now, May attempted 60 free throws. Does that sound to you like a total whole out of number, or does that sound like a part that she made or a part that was related to that whole? And to me, it sounds like a whole. So we know that 100% of her shots were 60. So we know that we have this relationship in our table. And then the question comes up and it says, well, she was successful on 40% of them. So we know that 40% is a percentage that we're curious about, and we want to know its value. So it sets up just like any other table problem that we've done in the past. We need to find a constant of proportionality by dividing these two numbers here. So let me show you what that looks like. I know that I've kind of did that on my own calculator. I'll show you what it looks like on the screen for this one. So here's our Desmos calculator. We would do 60 divided by 100, which is pretty obviously going to be 60 hundredths, or 0.6. Put in too many zeros as that happens. 0.6 is our constant of proportionality. So you can see that when I divide the two things. So I'm multiplying by 0.6 to get over here. So all I have to do to get my answer is 40 times 0.6. And that will tell me the answer to this problem. So let's go back to our calculator and do that. 0.6, there it is. Let's take our answer, 0.6, and multiply it by 40. And we get 24. So we see that she made 24 out of, question mark here is equal to 24. She made 24 out of the 60 that she attempted. And that's less than half, which makes sense because that's 40%. All right, so let's do another one with a table. All right, yesterday Priya successfully made 6 free throws. Today she made 150% as many. How many successful free throws did Priya make today? Create a table to help us solve. Okay, so we're going to make our table, our percent versus our value. We know that our percentage in this problem that we want to know is 150%, but we don't know that value right now. That's what it's asking us to find. But what we do know is yesterday she made 6 free throws, and that is her total, her whole amount made from yesterday. So that's 100% of what she made yesterday was 6. So 150% is going to be greater, and we can find that by simply dividing these two numbers. 6 divided by 100. Okay, you should be able to do that mentally. That is 6 hundredths, right? 6 hundredths. And so multiply 6 hundredths times 150, and it will tell you your value. So let's knock that out real quick. So what I did, I'll do it all in one swoop for you here. We took 60 and divided by 100 to find our constant of proportionality. All right. Why, it's double hitting that zero. And then we're going to take that answer, 6 hundredths, and we're going to multiply it. We're going to multiply it by 150 to find out, okay, what is that as number that they made? Well, that's 9. So 9 free throws were made the next day with 150% of what they made the previous. So 9 made. All right, let's move on to number 3 here. Number 3 has several different parts to this question. All right, so let's read it. There are 270 students in the school pep club. 40% of them are 6th graders, 20% are 7th graders, and the rest are 8th graders. Complete a table to solve the percentage problems. All right, so let's make a table for this. All right. So we have our percentage over here. We have our value over here. We know that there are 270 in the entire building. That would be 100% of everybody. We're trying to find 40, 20, and the remaining. Now, the remaining would be another 40% because 40 plus 20 is 60, and that's 40% away from being everybody else. So when we find the number of 6th graders, we also have the number of 8th graders because they are identical here. All right, so they are, 6th and 8th will be the same. So we just need to find out these two question marks. And to do that, what we need to do is we need to find our constant of proportionality between these two numbers. Okay, so I'm going to divide my two numbers that are here. 270. Oh, let me clear. 270 divided by 100. That should be pretty easy. I believe that's 2.7, right? Why does it keep hitting extra zero every time? 2.7. So we know that we can multiply by 2.7 to get over. So we want to take that answer and multiply it by 40 and take that answer and multiply it by 20, which is the other percentage that we're curious about. So times 20. And we get 108 and 54. So 108 and 54 because our constant of proportionality was simply multiplied by 2.7. So how many are in the 6th grade? That was 108. How many are in the 7th grade? 54. And then we have another 108 that are 8th graders. If you add all three of those numbers up, guess what? It will be 270. So it works. Let's go to the very last problem and let's knock this out. Jada has a monthly budget for her internet bill. Last month, she paid 125% of her budget and the bill was $80. What is Jada's monthly budget? Create a table to help us solve. All right, so here's our table. Always going to be a percent versus a value. Let's read the problem and get our percentages correct here. Okay, last month she spent 125% on her budget. So that was last month. And that value was $80. So right there it says, and the bill was $80. It is clearly connecting that. That's not 80 is not the 100. 125% is the 80 value. We're trying to find out what her normal full bill is, her 100%, what she's budgeted, what she's typically spending. And so to be able to do that, we've got to find our constant of proportionality. So let's go to the calculator here. And let's clear it, and let's do 80 divided by 125. And that comes out pretty nice, 0.64. So they're multiplying by 0.64 to go from side to side. So they're multiplying by 0.64. And that's pretty easy to do. You multiply it by 100, it would be 64. So there's my value. $64 is what she would typically spend on her internet bill, but it went up for some reason, 125% of that, to a value of 80. And there we go. There's your table version of percent problems. Hope this was helpful. Your cool down problems will be just like this. So please watch this video if you're having trouble.